Hey, today we have a new major order that just popped up as of yesterday. We'll go over the briefing, discuss how there's a chance we'll fail it, and so much more. And as always, if you enjoy the video at any point, consider giving it a like by tapping the thumbs up button below. Okay, yesterday we went over the latest major order, discussed how we completely crushed it, and I mentioned that we eliminated 100 million Terminids. Surprisingly, we just received the newest major order a few hours ago. By the time you're watching this, it will be a different day, of course. Anyways, there's an update message about the recent mass extermination of bugs, and the briefing states, the vast quantities of Terminids eradicated by the Helldivers has greatly aided the Ministry of Science Terminid Research Initiative. Though much work remains, our understanding of the most efficacious bug eradication methodologies has been thoroughly advanced. One key ancillary finding was that Terminids produce higher quality E710 when harvested under extreme duress. This finding will guide future E710 acquisition policy, assuring our access to uninterrupted FTL travel capabilities. Close observation of the Terminids did uncover a new behavior: the construction of spore-producing towers, roughly the size of small skyscrapers. This development appears to pose no threat, but will be closely monitored. There are some things to unpack here. One of the words that stood out the most in the briefing was the discussion about the spore towers being the size of a small skyscraper, or skyscrapers. So the Terminids have decided to construct these new spore towers after the recent major order, and it seems like these towers could potentially be as large as a small skyscraper. I'm not expecting a massive skyscraper type of object, but it does sound like it will be exceptionally large. I'd say possibly the size of a spore spearer, which, if you're not too familiar with that objective, it's those mushroom-like structures that periodically send out shriekers. Now, I have a good feeling, and I am suspecting that there will be a mission type where we must dive onto specific planets, locate these spore towers, and send down a hell bomb, or possibly, if possible, a different mission stratagem, which I would like to see instead of something we have already used in previous objectives. I'd also like to see a new bug type variant, and it seems like there could be a chance that we see the Impaler, which was previously discovered in the Helldivers 2 files. So there is a potential chance that we can see a new type of enemy, and I say new for those that have not played Helldivers 1. With that aside, I'm excited to see what happens, and who knows, maybe this ends up as another super colony, or something worse. It's worth noting that there's currently no information data mined about the spore towers, so I'd say there will be an update that we will see at some point that will give us that mission type. Anyways, you can take that with a grain of salt. Nonetheless, we are going to move along and talk about the new major order for automatons and the briefing, which states, following the valiant defense of X45 by the Helldivers, we have maintained a foothold in the Ymir sector despite the automaton's strenuous efforts to annex it. However, our units remain cut off from support. Now the time has come to reverse the strategic situation. The automatons have extended their despotic forces across vast swaths of the galaxy. This avarice has opened up the opportunity to split their forces down the middle, which would throw their cut-off forces into disarray and weaken their defenses for a short time on the cut-off planets. The Helldivers are ordered to cut a line through the Andromeda sector, joining our forces and dividing the automatons in two. Alright, this time we now have a major order on the left side for the automatons. Previously, we picked up a new support weapon called the Commando from the very first Galactic War on the X45 planet. Now we are going to separate the automaton forces straight down on the map only if we can successfully do this. However, I am concerned that this might be a major order that we will fail if we do not have enough players on the current planet. Right now, there are currently about 30,000 players with about 18,000 Helldivers on one planet as of right now, and we barely have put a dent in it. It's fair to note that the developers and a ex-community manager in the past have mentioned that not every major order is supposed to be a success. For example, Spitz, an ex-community manager, mentioned this when he was a CM and said, specific planets are absolutely able to be won or lost based on the players, and while the GM may make them easier or harder depending on how the players are doing, they've never given away a win or set up a major order that was meant to be impossible. What also makes me believe that we are going to fail this major order is the previous history with the automaton major orders. There's a great site to look up the previous orders and see exactly which ones we have failed. I'll list a few here, but you can check out the rest over at helldivers.fandom.com. Starting with the failed automaton major orders, the first one is the mass automaton attack MO, which we failed because we were unsuccessful in defending 8 planets. The second is the defense of Dropnir and Mantis MO, which required us to defend only 2 planets, and we failed that one. And lastly, there is the anti-tank mine MO that we have literally lost every single time. There are 7 more failed major orders that I won't go over, but you get the point that we're quite unsuccessful with the automaton major orders. However, Terminid major orders can be a complete breeze, and I guess sometimes challenging, but for the most part, they can be easy. In the past, we have been quite successful with 17 Terminid major orders, and failed only 3 of them. And with that, what do you think? Do you believe we are going to fail this major order? Or are we going to be successful and actually complete something this big? Let me know down below in the comment section. With that, I think this major order has a chance of failing if we cannot get the bug players to hop over to the left side and help with the automatons. I completely understand if you're over there because it's quite easy to farm samples and upgrade the ship easily, yet some help would be nice to see. We are now going to continue and go over an interesting SEAF artillery shell trick that you can do, and some of you might already be aware of this, but there are 2 different fast ways of moving the shells. This right here was discovered by Suuchi VR. I'm not sure if he's the first person to have discovered this, but anyways, what you can do with high sensitivity is flick your joystick or mouse from left to right while unequipping the shell at the last second to throw the shell further. Now, on the other hand, the second method is quite easy and well known, I'm sure. But when picking up the shell, quickly tap the map button to unequip the shell or just simply swap your weapons. Then pick up the shell again and rinse and repeat this while walking to quickly move shells fast to the objective location. These are some fun ways to get the objective done quickly, and again, these methods might not be new to you, but if you weren't aware of them before, then here you go. And finally, I'd like to help out a few of you who have been struggling against the Bile Titans. Have you been known to run around helplessly flailing your Helldiver arms like a squid? Well, today is the day that changes. What I recommend is using stratagems like the Spear, the Commando, rail cannon, and you can even use a 500 kg bomb. And there's more I could suggest, but these are by far my favorites. Now, the best way to take out a Bile Titan in general is to wait for the Titan to stagger itself, which can be done by simply going up close and wait for the Bile Titan to spew out its toxic bile. At this point, you want to take advantage of the situation and fire your rocket. If you are using the Spear, make sure to lock on, or make sure that the lock on is somewhat on the face of the Titan, and then pull the trigger. If done correctly, you should be able to one-shot it. Another great option is to use the newest Commando stratagem, and the same goes here. You want to aim for the head and just start firing those rockets. You want to do the same if you're using the 500 kg bomb. Wait for the Bile Titan to hawk up its bile, then throw down the stratagem. If you are using a rail cannon, then just throw it, of course. This is what I recommend if you have been struggling as of late. And with that, this is your Helldivers 2 news. We're now going to check out the top 3 comments from the previous video. Right here, we have the first one by the Bearded Men. The major order got completed entirely while I was asleep. Coming up at number 2, we have El Morty. Crazy idea that won't get implemented, the Galactic War Room. The players have suggested many war plans on Reddit over the lifetime of Helldivers 2, but they don't reach enough people so that they could actually be executed. With the Galactic War Room, the players could suggest war plans that the players would democratically vote on and would become visible in-game. There is also a lot of important information that is not available in-game, the effect of SEAF training camps on Liberation, the Dropnir Gambit and how Liberation works. These things could be also seen in the Galactic War Room. I'm not at all sure how this could be implemented and how it would fit in the lore, but it would be cool. And last but not least, we have Headcanon Prime that says, I would love it if we could just rearm mechs or get out and call on a dropship to pick up the mech, rearm, and bring it back, kind of like the Eagle Fighter. I love the mech, it's one of my favorite strats. In my headcanon, my character is dedicated mech pilot. There's your top 3 comments from the previous video. If you guys would like to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. Thank you guys for watching and commenting, and I'll see you guys in the next video.